Welcome back to the Abundant Harvest Homestead. I am Papa Pepper, and I just got back after a long, hard day of work. I still got some daylight, but the past couple days, I meant to film this, but I got home too late when my camera would not cooperate with the amount of daylight I had. So, although I've got a lot of stuff going on and projects I'm working on back here and other places, I wanted to record this video and just kind of pose a little bit of food for thought for some of you, some things to think about. And it was kind of spurred by an ongoing trend I noticed, but also by a comment I made when the Yeti and his family were over from Humble Valley Homestead.
It turns out that the only way to be a real homesteader is you have to be a martyr. So it has to be the absolute worst case scenario, off grid. The only way that you get water is when you stand out in the rain with your mouth open.
Yeah.
And you have to use leaves to wipe.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the dry leaves. And they did a great video on that. But I know it's like sometimes you get those homesteading channels and they kind of blow up and then they're making like buku YouTube dollars. And then it's like, okay, we're gonna go build another tiny house. So we drive up to Home Depot, drop $5,000-$6,000, run back and build another one, and the next week we're gonna do it again. And it just becomes such a an absurdity and unrealistic. I mean, that's not life. That's not livable. That's not sustainable without something like, you know, buku YouTube bucks or something like that. And oh, we're out of feed. We got to ride our emus to town to go get some more, you know.
Yeah.
And I forget exactly how I phrased it when they were over here, but basically it's this idea of homesteading versus like the YouTube algorithm and that type of stuff. And you know, there is just the wholesome sharing life and inspiring others by a lifestyle, okay? And that can fall into many categories. Then there's kind of the purely entertainment thing. Then there's also just like strictly educational videos. Here, I don't exactly do strictly educational videos. People who watch the whole videos mention that they learn things, which is cool, but a lot of it's just kind of sharing progress that we're up to here. I'm not particularly sure why, or whatever life we're living, just kind of working some of that into videos is kind of what we do here. But the one thing is that I want to focus on is kind of like the entertainment aspect of something. I don't mind edutainment, you know, when you get educated while you're entertained, but if you're actually trying to learn, then what it would be best for you to do is to stay away from purely entertainment. If it's purely entertainment, you might want to steer clear from that. And what happens a lot of times is there's money to be made on YouTube videos. And the bigger the channel you get, you know, the better things go. You know, the more your revenue is. Honestly, if I could pull in 10 times as much revenue as I do from YouTube right now, and that was the only horse I was betting on, I wouldn't need to do anything else, and I would live like way comfortable. But what happens often is you have people starting off somehow. They start off either just sharing life, or they start off, you know, just trying to educate people, or they start off just trying to like show like homesteading stuff, and then they start making like buku YouTube dollars. Buku. And it turns into an absurdity. I'm not directing this at anyone in particular, but I think that if you kind of think about it, there are several channels that over the years have grown really big, and good for them. I'm honestly, good for them. But what happens is it just becomes absurd almost. And basically, the lifestyle that they are presenting is only capable because of the YouTube money they're making. It's not what your homesteading experience is going to be like. It's not how homesteading is going to be. One of the reasons that I am as creative and resourceful as I am is just because I'm trying to avoid needing money. If I had crazy amounts of money to spend, I would live a whole different life, but that would be something that would be very unrelatable to y'all, because I'm not guessing that you guys, you know, just have an insane amount of money you don't know what to do with. So what happens is I'm going to kind of give a couple different scenarios, and I'm just going to kind of add some food for thought on it. The one is, we need a new sweater vest for our dog, so we're going to go ride our ostriches to town. A lot of people would click on a video like that, like family rides ostriches to town to buy new sweater vest for their bulldog, or whatever it may be. People would click on that stuff. It's going to get clicks. It's going to get views. But that's not real life. I don't mind having the variety of animals we do. We happen to have 4-horned Jacob sheep. They're considered an exotic by many people, but I could get them sometimes cheaper than other sheep, and it's just the breed we happen to go with. But sometimes people start, making the crazy YouTube money, and it's all of a sudden, oh look, now we've got this crazy thing that nobody in their right mind would ever really get, and now we've got this crazy thing, and look at this insane animal, and that's entertaining, sure, and it's going to get the views, and then they're going to make more crazy YouTube comment that doesn't really relate to stuff. And again, if you're in it to be entertained and you want to watch that stuff, sure, but it's probably time to get rather serious. It's probably time to figure out what you want to accomplish in this life and get to doing it, because it is becoming increasingly harder to accomplish things. The land I bought here was $1,000 an acre. A couple years ago when we bought it, I was looking at properties as just kind of an investment for my children's future, where I was looking at 40-acre plots for $36,000. Yeah, $36,000. Where it would be $900 an acre. A couple years later, we're talking 5 years ago. Now I know where there's like 9 acres for sale for $60,000 or something like that. And it's just like, man, that would have been $9,000. You'd had a hard time finding somebody to pay $18,000 for it a couple years ago, just given what it is. Now people are trying to sell it for $60,000. So the point is, we're heading into an era in our life where I would highly encourage you to take stewardship of all that you can. Grow your own food if you can. Have animals that provide food, and new animals if you can. Every year we have more animals from our animals that we let breed. It's amazing, because if we're good at taking care of animals, we're never going to run out. Now's the time to be doing this stuff. Now's the time to get serious. Now's the time to learn how to successfully do it. And if you're watching a family ride their ostriches to town to buy a new sweater vest for their bulldog, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. There's another category that stuff falls into where, again, just the crazy YouTube money. So, okay, today we're going to build this tiny house, and we're not going to hook it up to electricity, so we're going to call it off-grid, and then more people will watch it. Maybe we'll even put epic in the title, then more people are going to watch it. And then next week we're going to build this tiny house. Then next week we're going to build one up in that tree over there. Next week we'll build one down by that pond. And, we'll run out to Home Depot for every video and spend $6,000, $7,000 just in starter materials and to start going. That's not how your life is going to be. Yes, you may learn how to build something good. And honestly, if we have time and opportunity, I would like to build a cordwood house, maybe a grain bin house, a yurt, just some different building opportunities. Kind of have a main something with a road around it over here in my woods, and then build different, straw bale house, different little building projects. For one, it'd be good content, kind of building these things. For two, people who are considering moving out to the country and practicing or looking into different alternative housing could come check them out in person and kind of compare some of the things to them. Another thing is, if we were going to have events or stuff like that, it'd be a place for people to stay while we had the events. Obviously, I've got tons of stuff to, concentrate on and work on here anyway, but, it would be cool. And then eventually, if things get horrible and we've got to put people up and take care of them, well, then it would be an opportunity for that. I'd already have somewhere for them to live. That could work out, but just to go do it for crazy constantly, just for clicks, I can't afford to do that, for one, but that's also not exactly going to be a realistic homesteading life that you guys could really relate to, of, hey, let's just build a new tiny home, off-grid tiny home every week. that's not life. That's not real life. Like I said, for those who are able to do that and whatever, I'm glad. But again, if you're trying to learn certain things, if you're trying to master certain things, if you're trying to really focus on what you need in your life to prepare for your future, then I would steer clear of entertainment. And I would focus more on, edutainment. If you still need to be entertained while you do it, at least make sure you're learning something, or just kind of specifically focus on different tasks. I can't wait. I was just at somebody's house, and they had a smokehouse they built. And they built it as a dual purpose. So you can have a small fire right inside the smokehouse and hot smoke stuff, or you can run it in the cold smoker area, into there to have a cold smoker. And that's awesome. I want one like now. I want one like last week. There's a lot of meat I would run through there, and we're harvesting fish like crazy to provide for our family so that we don't need as much money, because we can go have fun at the lake and put up a year's supply of canned fish or other things. Yeah, I can't wait to do, but to see projects like that and then to do them and then to learn how to master them, that's the type of stuff I want to be up to right now. I sometimes spend too much time being entertained, and, this is kind of a reality check for me too. So you've got just the absurd stuff, family rides, Ostriches in town to buy a new sweater vest for their, bulldog. You've got kind of the hey, every week we're going to go and just clear out the extreme priced lumber section and build just crazy stuff like constantly. And then you've got just the stuff where it's like, I've seen it for years. And I've seen a few pop up recently, and I was thinking about talking about this way before I ever seen those, so don't think this is directed at anyone in particular, but just like the constant trespasser videos. Oh no, trespassers are stealing this, and trespassers are on my land now, and how do I get rid of these crazy trespassers, and trespassers caught in the act, and hidden camera catches trespasser. And guys, if things get as bad as they could in the very near future, and you don't know how to deal with trespassers now, your future probably doesn't look very good. Personally, I have my entire property fenced in with cattle panels. And the only reason I was able to afford that is because some of the stuff I was doing to earn incomes online went crazy for a minute. So yeah, every 16 feet is worth at least $25 right now around my entire property. And then I have murder dogs. I have a dog that's pretty much a murder dog. If you tried to come into my yard and you're not an immediate member of my family, that dog will tear you up, because that's what he's designed to do. He's completely fine with my entire family. If we have company over that we like, we'll move him to a different area for the time being. But it's not that hard to deal with trespassers. Whatever area you don't want, throw up a fence, especially if you're making, buku YouTube dollars. Then put up something, a murder dog will do it. It's not that hard. But the point is, I get it that people are going to watch that type of stuff. People like to watch it. It'll get a lot of views, and good. But if you're actually looking at videos to try to figure out how to deal with trespassers, you better figure out how to deal with trespassers now. Because when you have food and they don't, they'll be coming a lot more, and other things like that. It's just interesting. Again, some of it's a reality check for me. I need to focus on actually storing up more knowledge in here. I've learned so much since we started our journey, and unfortunately a lot of times I'm a hands-on learner, so unless I'm out there doing it myself, sometimes I don't learn as well. That's just me. That's not necessarily a flaw. It's just the reality of what I have to deal with. But I want to continue to master my domain. I want to continue to progress in my life and on our homestead. I want to continue to make things much more functional. There's so much I'm learning about just rotational grazing and building pasture and running the garden and how everything works together. And there's so many things that I've learned to trust, like my instinct or intuition to a degree too. Like there are times that I just feel compelled to do something, like driven to do something. I say, boy, I feel like I really need to do this right now. And a lot of times there's a reason for it that I don't realize till later. So I've learned to kind of roll with life, just kind of live in that moment, be an active participant in my life, that if I feel like I need to be doing something, then that's what I do. And it's worked out rather well. But of course, there's a lot of things I feel like doing. I wish I was down at the lake catching gar right now and shooting carp as they spawn right now, and heading out tonight and shooting suckers and quillback again, and catching a bunch of panfish at the lake. I wish I was doing all those things right now. There's part of me that wishes I wasn't taking a year off of gardening right now. There's so much I would be doing in the garden if I could, and I'll tell you what, taking a year off right now is going to help so much. I'll do some rain catchment off the poultry pens and other things, hopefully. I just added a bigger roof up there because I didn't do a good job to begin with. I might throw a lean-to off of that and finish the batten on the front and things like that. I'll see what I get into once I'm done here. But I just wanted to kind of offer that up for people. Be careful. If you think that homesteading is a nice lifestyle, then I would watch real homesteaders, people who are actually living the life and actually dealing with things. Learn how to use your mind, both store knowledge to begin with, be exposed to things and learn and store knowledge, but then also get creative. Practice your problem solving. How do you figure something out without an hour round trip ride to town? I do that stuff constantly. And it's a blessing. And I've impressed myself and I've impressed others. I remember one video I'll link up here where I figured if I could do this in less than an hour, then I'm going to save a whole trip to town, all the gas and the money to buy it if I just use what I got on hand and solve my own problem. I did. It was amazing. Some people were really impressed with me over it. I didn't really know I was capable, and I'm surprised at how quickly and easily it worked. It was amazing. But learn on that stuff. You know, if you're actually trying to figure out how to grow a garden, practice. You're going to learn so much from practicing, but then watch videos actually about gardening. You can watch, a half hour of somebody shooting tomato hornworms with a bug assault, gun, blasting them with salt blast, and it'd probably be entertaining. Maybe doing it under black light, so it's kind of got this cool effect as they're bioluminescing and then they go flying off of the plant. But that's not really going to help you learn how to grow tomatoes, is it? Speaking of that, last year, crazy year for us growing tomatoes here. I got to learn to line everything up. Some years I'm really good at peppers, or really good at tomatoes, or really good at something else, but I got to get more of them overlapping on the same year. But yet last year was the year that we aced in a lot of ways growing tomatoes. It was insane. I loved it so much. And then find those things too. We experiment a lot. I'm doing a number of experiments right now just to learn. Even our whole canning fish, eating gar, eating sucker, eating carp. Those are fins and scales fish man will often tell you it's trash fish. But God says that's food. So I began to take him at face value. Okay, my Father says it's food. Let's look at this. And just began experimenting with it. Now it has solved so many issues in our life that's food related. Gar is my top fish to target for eating. And I can boil it in some like crawfish boil seasoning. I can deep fry it and make like chicken tenders essentially out of it. The carp and the sucker, we can that up and it's our canned tuna and canned carp substitute or canned salmon substitute. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. I've got probably almost 100 jars canned up this year already. Pint jars of fish already for my upcoming root cellar. It's at least in my pantry now. It's food we have on hand for my family. But experiment. And if you're not yourself, watch those who are. Watch those who are learning things and mastering things. Who learn just how it works really well with actual life. I remember I could see my Malabar spinach plants planted years ago. I think it was 2018 I planted them. And they came back without planting in 2019. Then they came back without planting in 2020. Then 2021. Now they're popping up again. There's essentially going to be 5 years of harvest off of planting something once. And it's not even a perennial. It just reseeds itself. I love that. I learned that. And I'm blessed for learning it. So I want to share it with you guys. Do stuff like that. Have something that you can plant once and get years and years and years and years of food back. And the cool thing too is we can take the big leaves from the Malabar spinach and take our carp salad, make tuna salad out of canned carp and make these awesome rolls. That stuff is amazing. Just more experimenting, but figuring out how to craft a life that makes sense. Essentially, guys, I want to be real. I want to live a real life. I don't want to live vicariously through others. I want to have a life that just inspires me to do better, to do more, to learn more, to understand more, to kind of master some things mentally where I understand how it all works together. And we're doing, more and more of that. But I gotta watch it, so I'm not just watching goofy stuff that has no pertaining to real life or that the average person, couldn't do, because I like the stuff the average person could do. I like being able to I don't know how many people I've taken bow fishing for their first times. I don't know how many of those bought bows afterwards and started doing it for themselves because they enjoy it. And unlike a bunch of the people who just shoot the fish and throw them on the bank, the people I teach eat the fish because they understand how good it is. I love that. Just being able to have things that people can enjoy, that real people can understand, that they can apply to their life, and then their life is better for it. If I have a couple laughs because, somebody got in a fight with their ostrich, yeah, that's going to be funny, or I wouldn't have laughed. But it's not going to help me in my life. So hopefully, guys, that makes sense to you. If you're the type who can afford to do the things and are getting the clicks and that type of stuff to make buku YouTube dollars, go for it. That's awesome. Praise God that you're able to, and that you'll have something to show for it by the time you're done. That's awesome. Don't forget to educate some people on the way when you can. But if you guys are looking for the education, if you guys are looking for things, maybe my channel's not for you. Maybe some other homesteading channels aren't for you. This is just the Papa Pepper channel. It's my life, essentially. I'm on the Abundant Harvest Homestead. Often we get an abundant harvest from this homestead. But it's not always just succinct little here. Take this knowledge and apply it to your life. It's not always what I offer up either. So just kind of throw that out there. Something for you guys to think about. I think our dog needs a new sweater vest, so the family and I got to go saddle up the Ostriches and take a ride to town. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Papa out.
Thank you for watching. Hit the like button. Thumbs up. For real.
The cow head is good?